Hello students, so once again we are back in continuation with the chapter, the first phase of the national movement, and in this session we are going to see the contributions of Gopal Krishna Gokhale and Surendranath Banerjee. We had already seen the contributions of Dadabhai Naoroji, and today now in this session we are going to see the contributions of Gopal Krishna Gokhale. Gopal Krishna Gokhale was born at Kolhapur in Maharashtra in 1866. He was a professor of history and civics at Fergusson College in Pune. He was influenced by the ideals of Justice M.G. Ranade. He joined the Deccan Education Society founded by Justice Ranade. On behalf of the society, he went to England to propagate the Indian views. Once again, he also, like Dadabhai Naoroji, he also advertised before the Britishers the views of the Indians and before the British Commission. He was awarded the title of CIE, that is the Companion of the Indian Empire. Gokhale became the most popular leader of the Indian National Congress. He presided over the Varanasi session of the Congress in 1905. Having faith in the British liberalism, he said that the goal of the Congress should be the attainment of a form of government similar to that which existed in the self-governing colonies of the British Empire. What were his contributions? His contributions was that he persuaded the British for the reforms. Gokhale favored the use of constitutional means to achieve his goals. He opposed the policies of the British government whenever necessary. So once again, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, like any other leaders, he also stayed within the legal framework, and he also placed the demands before the Britishers in a very peaceful and discussive mode. He criticized the government on the issues such as incurring the huge expenditure on the British army. Incurring means suffering. The huge expenditure. This expenditure was borne by the Indian masses, the Indian peasants, and it was an expenditure on the maintenance of the British army. Adopting the policy of the racial discrimination in appointments to the high post. As you are aware that the Indians were never given the high post, they were never appointed, and therefore there was a policy of the racial discrimination which was followed by the Britishers. Imposing production tax on the cotton. He made a strong plea for the reform of the legislative councils and separation of the judiciary from the executive. He made a strong appeal on the separation of the executive from the judiciary. Executive means like who are implementing the laws, and the judiciaries like they are passing the judgments on the laws. He played an important role in the passage of the Minto-Molle reforms. He also served as a member of the Indian Public Service Commission and urged it to increase the share of Indians in the higher services. During his visit to England, he tried to persuade the British statesmen, that is the political leaders, not to give effect to the partition of Bengal. So the partition of Bengal was in the year 1905. He voiced his opinion and he also agitated that the partition of Bengal should not take place. Now he formed this organization which is known as the Servants of the Indian Society. Gokhale set up the Servants of the Indian Society in 1905. The main aim of the society was to train the national leaders who would dedicate themselves to the service of India. Some of the important members of the society were Srinivas Shastri and Hridayanand Kunjru. So he also educated the Indians, he trained the leaders so that they can also participate and fight against the Britishers. Role as a member of the Imperial Legislative Council. So the British Queen had also appointed a legislative council to carry out the administrative functions in India. He had become a member of the Legislative Council. He pleaded in the council for the reduction in the salt duty or the salt taxes. His relentless efforts led to reduction in the toll tax. He tried to introduce a bill with a view to make primary education compulsory, but he could not achieve much success in it. So he also wanted to spread education among the Indian masses. Being an economist, he demanded radical changes in the fiscal policy. Fiscal means what? The monetary policy of the country, and better jobs for the educated middle class. He impressed upon the government to reduce the land revenue. Gokhale and Gandhiji. There was a strong relationship between Gokhale and Gandhiji. Gokhale went to South Africa where he helped Gandhiji in his fight against the racial discrimination. As all of us, we are aware that Gandhiji had started the Satyagraha movement in South Africa, and he also fought against the racial discrimination. Gokhale also helped Gandhiji in South Africa. The credit of persuading Gandhiji to return to India and join Indian public life also goes to Gokhale. So, Gandhiji also he also was inspired by Gokhale, and actually the political guru of Gandhiji is said to be Gopal Krishna Gokhale. In fact, Gandhiji accepted Gokhale as his political mentor or the political guru. Gokhale died on February 15, 1915 when his popularity was at its peak. Next we will see the contributions of Surendranath Banerjee. He is known as the father of the Indian nationalist movement. Okay, Surendranath Banerjee was a nationalist leader, popular journalist and dedicated educationist. He was born in Bengal in 1848. He was the first Indian to qualify for the Indian Civil Service examination. So he was the first Indian to have passed the ICS examination. He worked as a magistrate, that is a judge, in Assam, but he was soon dismissed because he opposed the policy of the racial discrimination followed by the British. So he was dismissed by the Britishers because he was opposing or he was protesting against the policy of the racial discrimination. Surendranath began his career as a professor of English at the Metropolitan College. He set up his own school which later developed into the Ripon College. So he was a great propagator of the English education, and he had set up the various schools and colleges. Surendranath was elected to the Calcutta Corporation and remained its member for nearly 2 decades. He was elected to the Bengal Legislative Council 4 times. In 1921, he was appointed as a minister of the self-government and held by the governor of Bengal. So his political journey was also very remarkable. He was member of the Legislative Council. He was member of the of the Minister of the Health in Bengal. He was the first Indian to hold that position. He advocated use of the constitutional methods for the attainment of the Indians' goals. His famous saying, "Opposition where necessary, cooperation where possible." So he also was following the policy of the cooperation with the Britishers. He believed in the moderate methods, and he was also one of the early nationalists who believed in the method of the discussion, petitions, giving the memorandums to the Britishers. What were his contributions? He established the Indian Association. To fight against the wrong policies of the British, he founded the Indian Association in 1876. Its aims were to educate the people, to create strong public opinion in the country, and to arouse the political consciousness and unity. So through this association, the Indian Association, he wanted to arouse the awareness of the people towards the British exploitative policies. Second is the created an all India political organization. In order to create an all India political organization, Surendranath convened the Indian National Conference in 1883 at Kolkata. His Indian National Congress merged with the Indian National Congress in 1886, as both organizations had similar objectives. So he called upon the Indian National Conference in 1883, which merged with the Indian National Congress in the year 1886. He presided over the 2 sessions of the Congress in 1895 and 1902. What were his political ideas? Banerjee edited a newspaper, Bengali, which served as a powerful medium for mobilizing the public opinion. So he wanted to bring together the people and educate them and raise their awareness, consciousness against the Britishers, and he wanted a self-rule for the Indian people. His book Nation in the Making gives an account of his political concern and his views about the self-government. Banerjee started agitation against the License Act, Arms Act, Vernacular Press Act, and against the lowering the age from 21 to 19 years to appear in the ICS exam. examination. He opposed the Morley-Minto reforms, which we are going to see eventually what are the Morley-Minto reforms of 1909 and why everybody protested against it. And he was also against the separate electorates which was given for the Hindus and the Muslims, by which the Britishers followed the policy of the divide and the rule. Means the separate representations were given for the Hindus and the Muslims in the legislative council. He also opposed the division of Bengal by Lord Curzon in 1905. Banerjee, popularly known as the father of Indian nationalism, breathed his last in 1925. So he is known as the father of the Indian nationalism. So with this we come to the end of the chapter. We have seen the contributions of the three main leaders of the early nationalist phase, that is Dadabhai Naoroji, the second is Gopal Krishna Gokhale, and third is Surendranath Banerjee. I hope you have learnt a lot from this session. Thank you for watching the video.